So as we joyfully anticipate the holiday season, those of us who are dog moms to sensitive pups know that family gatherings can be a double-edged sword. While it's a time for joy and togetherness, it could also bring stress, especially when well-meaning family members share their opinions and advice on how we should be handling our sensitive dogs. And so I thought I'd share a couple of strategies to help you navigate those situations so that you could have a more peaceful holiday for everyone. And so let's start with the first priority, which is really stepping into being responsible for being our dog's advocate and planning in advance. And so one of the ways we could do that is to prepare a safe haven for your dog. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened by Dogs podcast. Well, hello, Kathy Kowalik here, and today I'm going to talk to you about creating a green zone holiday season for you and your dog and your family. So I just got done delivering a beautiful workshop for my BPA members. It was 2 hours of gold and glitter and all the things about a stress-free holiday. So it was a big hit, and we had a lot of great discussion and fantastic ideas. And so I wanted to share some of the key tips with you that I taught to my members in the Brilliant Partners Academy, because I know that you could use them, and I want you to have a beautiful holiday as well. All right, so as we step into the festive season, we dog moms often find ourselves like swept up in the whirlwind of holiday preparations. And amidst the glittering lights and cheerful melodies, our sensitive dogs can most definitely sense our stress along with the change in the environment, our environment and our homes. And sometimes it definitely reflects in their behavior. And so this season, I invite you to join me in creating a holiday green zone, think of it like a sanctuary of calm and connection for both you and your dogs. And as always, creating this beautiful holiday green zone experience starts with us, the dog moms. And when we acknowledge our own stress and take steps to manage our stress, we pave the way for a much happier holiday experience for us and our dogs and everyone. And remember that our dogs are incredibly attuned to our emotions. I mean, let's face it, if we're frazzled, they feel it, and they are likely to act out in some way when that happens. And so by taking a few simple steps to keep ourselves regulated, we help them to stay balanced and calm. So first up is creating your personal inner green zone. And so I'm just going to run by some quick tips for you. So identify personal stress triggers during the holidays and see what you can do to minimize that stress. For example, you might think about scheduling daily relaxation or self-care activities like meditation or yoga or going for a walk or snuggling with your dog, right? And take some time to reflect on and adjust holiday expectations for yourself and mostly, and see what you could do to make adjustments for more peace and less stress. Which leads me to the next point, simplifying holiday plans. So take a look at your holiday plans and see if you could identify areas to simplify. Like maybe it's simple, like decide on decorations and, holiday beauty in and around your home. Think about making them comforting rather than like overwhelming you to set it up to be perfect. So like go for just that beautiful, peaceful holiday vibe that you love without stressing yourself out. Plan for more simpler, more meaningful holiday celebrations that are focused on connection, and like even seriously consider the number of holiday celebrations that you commit to, whether you're the host or you're going out. Let's make this a much more peaceful year. Another thing you could do is create a more peaceful environment for yourself, which of course we know trickles out to everyone else. And so think about like maybe doing a little bit of decluttering or organizing, living spaces to reduce sensory overload, maybe before you decorate, or make it part of the process, like put some things away while you take other things out. Think about the effect that having a lot of clutter has on us and in our dogs. One of the things that I found to be really helpful is sort of thinking about a designated quiet area in your home for your own personal green zone and relaxation. It's kind of like your own retreat area that you just make up for yourself. Maybe it's just on one chair or, in on your bed, something, so that when you enter that space, you acknowledge that I'm in this space for relaxation and quiet time and de-stressing, right? And so it kind of helps set the stage when you designate a spot. It's sort of like a mental decision, an intention. Okay. I think embracing the mantra "less is more" as our guiding light is a really good one, and I encourage you to do the same. Because I think it's about finding joy in simplicity and remembering that the heart of the season lies in the warmth of our relationships, not in the perfection of holiday decor or holiday meals, right? And so in this spirit, let's approach family gatherings with the main thing in mind, which is feeling connected and enjoying each other's company. It's okay if the dinner isn't gourmet, and it's okay if the house isn't decked out like a magazine cover, right? What matters most is the love that we share and the laughter that fills our home. And our dogs most definitely don't need a picture-perfect holiday. They need a happy, connected, and stress-free family. That's what we all need. And that, dear moms, is the most precious gift that we could offer them and ourselves and our families this festive season. So let's talk about the next item on my list, which is sensory considerations. Now, during the holidays, our dogs face a barrage of unfamiliar sensory experiences, and To fully understand and step into our dog's paws, we really want to take a look and consider their heightened sensory capabilities. And so the additional sounds of the holiday season, such as music, bells, even fireworks in some areas, can be startling or even distressing for our dogs. These sounds, which might be enjoyable or maybe barely noticeable to us, can be really overwhelming to a dog's sensitive ears. And as we know, a dog's sense of smell is incredibly powerful, far surpassing our own. And a holiday season often brings a plethora of new scents into our home, from, pine trees to scented candles and cooking and baking aromas. And while these smells create a festive atmosphere for us, for our dogs, they can be really overpowering and confusing. Plus, scented candles with artificial fragrances, not just in candles, but in other items that we use, can be really overwhelming and even toxic to dogs, and definitely can lead to sensory overload. And dogs also experience the changes in their visual environment during the holidays. So decorations like Christmas trees, lights, ornaments, all introduce unfamiliar sights into their living space. And these changes, while decorative and beautiful to us, can be disorienting and stressful for dogs. And in addition to these sensory challenges, we have changes in routine, right? Life is busier. Our schedules are busier. We have increased social activities, altered daily routines. Like, all these things can disrupt the structure that dogs rely on for comfort and security. And this combination of sensory overload and routine disruption can elevate a dog's baseline arousal thresholds, making them more reactive or anxious than even usual. And this sensory overload can manifest in various behaviors depending on the individual dog. Some may become hyperactive, whiny, barky. Others may exhibit more like shut down kind of behaviors or anxious type of behaviors. They can show reluctance or refusal to engage in normal activities. Dogs might even be more reactive to their usual triggers and find it much harder to settle down, even when there is, presently nothing upsetting around them. So as we joyfully anticipate the holiday season, those of us who are dog moms to sensitive pups know that family gatherings can be a double-edged sword. While it's a time for joy and togetherness, it could also bring stress, especially when well-meaning family members share their opinions and advice on how we should be handling our sensitive dogs. And so I thought I'd share a couple of strategies to help you navigate those situations so that you could have a more peaceful holiday for everyone. And so let's start with the first priority, which is really stepping into being responsible for being our dog's advocate and planning in advance. And so one of the ways we could do that is to prepare a safe haven for your dog. So before the gathering, set up a comfortable, quiet space for your dog, like their very own green zone. This could be a separate room or a cozy corner that's off limits to guests. Ensure it's equipped with things that are, comforting and calming to them. Maybe, safe toys or blankets, maybe a piece of, your clothing so that they feel more comforted. So this space is essential for giving your dog a retreat when they need a break from the festivities, if they're, involved, or a safe space for your dog to hang out when they're not involved, or for the dogs that can't be involved at all. And so keep the safe haven just that by making it a no visitor zone, and be sure to let your guests know the rules around that. So here's a couple tips for creating that safe haven. Choose a quiet area in your home away from the main gathering spots, maybe a spare room, a corner of your bedroom, maybe even a garage or an outbuilding. If your dog finds comfort in their crate, put it in that area, or an X pen is a great alternative. You might consider muffling the noise from the gathering with a white noise machine or playing some soft calming music. You want to make sure that the space is dog proofed with no items that could cause harm if your dog becomes stressed and tries to chew. Like, we definitely don't want that to happen. And you want to make sure that the door to the safe retreat space has a no entry sign and has a higher up child safety lock to keep out children or guests who can't read the sign, right? We need to make it a safe haven and a retreat for your dog. So no visitors. And you want to consider using calming aids like a thunder shirt, aromatherapy, pheromone diffuser, maybe calming music, CBD oil, white noise, or, maybe other additional support that you know to use. And the other thing that you can consider is having a designated support person that can relieve you. Like, if you're hosting, you're going to be busy, right? And so sometimes it might be nice for you to go hang out with your dog, but you also want to have an alternative person that is the designated support person that could help you. So you want to appoint a trusted person who is familiar with your dog to stay with them in their retreat space, especially if they become distressed by being separated and away from, the activities, whether it's because they have FOMO, but they need a break, or they, it's just too much for them to be out, or if they're just not comfortable having visitors. Sometimes it could really help to have, you could rotate, you could have several people that, in the family that, to take turns and rotate in and out. And of course, this person should understand your dog's specific needs and be able to provide comfort and, either engage in calming activities or use the calming aids that you've provided. Yeah. All right. So then the next item in this, safe haven and, being an advocate for your dog, the next bit is to educate your guests in advance. So a proactive approach can work wonders and make it so much easier for you, for your guests, and of course for your dog. So before your guests arrive, you could just let them know about your dog's sensitivities and the best ways to interact or not interact. This can be done in a lighthearted but informative and clear manner. Perhaps as part of the invitation or a welcome note, you could send an email or a message and just kind of just lay out a few things that make it really, really simple and easy. And it helps your guests, they'll feel, connected and part of the process. And, if you let them know in advance, they're much more likely to be helpful in that way and feel good about doing that instead of being, maybe disagreeable or argumentative or confused. And the other thing you could do is consider hanging kind of a festive reminder sign on the door, the front door, reminding guests, not to ring or knock to help keep the peace. Maybe have them text you, as they're arriving. You want to make it as easy and quiet and stress-free as you can. So whatever that looks like for your family, don't be afraid to step in and just set some guidelines and some rules and some boundaries and let's just, just no drama. Let's just get it done. And one of the things that you might find helpful is to practice polite deflection. And so when unsolicited advice comes your way, which it probably will if your dog is, excited or over aroused or barky or anything, that, how people are, we always have our opinion about what a dog needs. But remember that you know your dog best. And a polite deflection can be as simple as saying, "Oh, well, thank you for your concern. We're working on it in a way that's best for our dog's needs and our family's needs." And just keep it really simple and clear and plain. And we're acknowledging their input without committing to their advice, right? And so we're just trying to keep it like a no drama zone. And then the next piece of this is sticking to your dog's routine as much as possible. So, maintaining your dog's regular feeding, walking, playtime, activity schedule can provide them with a sense of normalcy amid the holiday chaos. And a routine is very comforting to dogs, especially our most sensitive dogs. And, your guests even will understand. And, sure, some things may be shortened or slightly, rearranged, but stick to the routine as close as you can, and everyone will just feel a lot better. All right. So then the next category I wanted to share with you is to keep your dog safe. And so we have two main considerations, which is holiday food considerations. And so, there's, special meals and treats, and we know that not everything is safe for dogs. And many traditional holiday foods contain items that are toxic or harmful to our dogs. And of course, not everyone knows that. Your guests, or if people are bringing, contributing to the meal. And so you want to keep that in mind and, think about what's in the recipes, etc. And maybe make some advice around that, or just get very, very clear about and firm even about what is not to be shared with your dog in any way because it's actually harmful for them. So you want to know about, you just want to have a clear idea. Okay, these are the particular things that I want to watch out for because they're part of our holiday, traditional meals. And there's items like raisins or something, that's not safe for my dogs. And so I'm going to really stay on top of that and let everyone know, especially, kids or those that maybe have a cognitive impairment, we have to step into that advocacy and take responsibility for that. So just be alert to any toxic or potentially toxic foods, chocolate, grapes, raisins, onions, a lot of onions, certain nuts, just keep them out of reach, educate guests. You might want to think about avoiding rich fatty foods, especially if your dog is prone to pancreatitis. Avoid giving dogs things like, turkey skin or gravy or high fat items. And of course, pre-inform your guest about your dog's dietary restrictions and safety rules. Another thing that we don't often think about is securing the garbage. So make sure that your garbage bins are secure and inaccessible to curious dogs because, bones and all kinds of other things in there that your dog might get into, and we just don't want that to happen. So you might think about, maybe having a special doggy treat bowl handy for guests that love to give your dog a treat so that, they feel good. They get to give your dog a treat and you feel good because your dog is getting something safe, right? And healthy and appropriate for them. And then the last thing in this item of food and toxins and keeping your dog safe in that regard is to keep, coats and pockets, purses, and bags out of reach of your dog. You want to store your guest items which may contain xylitol containing products, gums and candies, breath mints, stuff like that, medications, over the counter or prescription, and other items like that. You need to make sure that your dog does not have access to that. You have to be responsible for that because a lot of times people forget that they even have that in their pockets or bags or purses. And even if they did forget, they don't even think about what might be toxic to dogs, right? So you just want to, arrange for these things to be out of reach of your dog. And then the last thing here is to keep your dog safe inside. And so just in case, you want to make sure that your dog is wearing a collar with current up-to-date identification. You want to make sure that your microchip info is up to date and current. Or if you don't have a microchip, consider getting one, or maybe a tracking tag attached to your dog's collar, just in case, people coming and going, especially kids, and, it could be, mistakes happen. So just in case, right? Make sure your dog is easily trackable and identifiable. And then as an extra level of safety, you might want to have a designated door person to greet guests while you or another designated dog person keeps the dog safely away from the exit door, right? So plan for it, plan in advance, and you want to make it as stress-free as you can. The more you do this, the more you plan for it, the happier your holidays are going to be, the more enjoyable your festivities are, and you can just really relax and enjoy everything, and your dog is going to pick up that vibe from you, and it's just going to be so much better, yeah? So, all right, in conclusion, while holiday gatherings and festivities and preparations and decorations can be stressful for sensitive dogs and sensitive dog moms, with some planning and preparation and a focus on what truly matters, it is absolutely possible to create a peaceful, enjoyable experience for everyone. And remember that the holidays are a time to celebrate love and connection, not perfection. So let's cherish these days and these gatherings with our dogs and our families, and think about them as being beautifully imperfect and full of heart. All right, that's all I have for you today. Have a wonderful week, a wonderful holiday festive season, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Be brilliant. Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.